Hello, ATC students. We are back again as your student success coaches. I am Crystal Edwards.
And I'm Jeff Bale, and today we're going to go and talk about job interview process. Previous in our workshop, we talked about the idea of resumes, how to get that resume together, to kind of go apply for that job. But now you're going to get that call. The employer's going to call you, ask you to come in for the interview. We're going to talk about the various types of interviews, as well as how you need to prepare for the interview and what to do during the day of the interview itself.
Yeah, it's really important, one, that you provide yourself with some prep work, okay? It's doing homework for the interview. So you want to make sure, one, that you're well prepared, that you understand the importance of looking up the organization or the company or hospital or wherever you're working or wherever you want to work.
Yes.
It's important that you do your homework and look up their missions and values and see how that correlates with who you are and what you want to be in that company.
Yeah. The other thing is just look at the idea of the job description.
Yes.
See what they have in that description and tailor that as you're kind of thinking of what you're going to want to talk about, what you're going to bring up in your interview. Use those past experiences, those work experiences, education experiences, and tailor that to the job description. Now, there are different types of interviews. Most of it's more that one-on-one, face-to-face interview, but in the time of COVID, things are a little different now. You have the idea of the virtual interview, or the idea where you're on the webcam going back and forth, chatting with one or more people. There could be what's also called a panel interview. This could be done virtually, this could be done over the phone, or it could be in person, where you have a group of people. You can have someone who is, at the office you're going to be potentially working at, or even someone on the other side of the world you might be collaborating with, interviewing you.
Yeah, that's important to know because you want to be as prepared as you can be. So if you know someone that already works or is employed at the certain company or organization that you want to work at, ask them what type of interviews they conduct there. Therefore, you can be well prepared for it. As Mr. Bell alluded to, we are in the age of COVID, so most of our interviews are via Zoom or some type of virtual platform. But even in that, it's very important that kind of like how they're structured as much as you can, how the company is structured so that you'll be well prepared and ready to take on whatever type of format they have for an interview.
Yeah, and what Ms. Edwards kind of pointed out, the idea of those Zoom interviews.
Oh, yeah.
Is the idea of, make sure you actually have the capabilities there.
Oh,
make sure you have that working webcam. Make sure your computer's up to speed. If you have other applications on your computer, make sure they're all closed and you just have that, Zoom program over, or say Skype for Business or any of the other ones that are out there. So with that, make sure you have the computer situated, but also just things that you need to also do. More the idea of just, your general prep, what you're looking like that day, because you want to go and give a first impression that is positive.
Yeah, even on a Zoom call, okay? This is something that we already know, but even on a Zoom call, you want to make sure that you're dressed nicely, okay? Kind of dress up. I know we've seen some very funny types of Zoom calls
where
the upper part of your body's dressed and then the lower part is not. You want to make sure that
people.
Yeah, that's right. Fully dressed that day. If you are doing a virtual interview, make sure you fully dress that day, just so that you can eliminate any type of bloopers. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we do that as well. Yes.
And the other thing is too, even with the idea of those Zoom meetings, don't be sitting in your bed. Unfortunately, that's a common thing as well. Don't be sitting in your bed. Don't have something where your dog can jump on in and or your kids can come in the room. Actually have somewhere that A, looks professional.
Yeah.
Especially the idea of where if you're potentially going to have a job where you might at some point work from home.
No,
you want to give the show here is a space that I have dedicated to do this job. But even if the job is on site somewhere, you still want to have that good appearance there. If you have a background where it's, everything's messy and unorganized and, if you're in your kitchen and it's full of dirty dishes there, that's not going to give a good impression. So impression is, a big deal when it comes to these things, where a lot of interviewers might go and get that first look on the camera and get that judgment and be like, nope, I don't care what the person's going to say. I'm just going to throw out the candidate just based off those dirty dishes.
Yeah, you never know, guys. I mean, this is something that could make or break you. Sometimes candidates are so close and employers are just looking for that one thing that makes a candidate stands out the most. So it may just be on a Zoom call behind them was so organized, it really shows their skills. So anything, okay, to separate you from the general, then you want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing is too, and obviously with Zoom meetings, but also the idea of face-to-face meetings, the idea you want to make sure your hair's going properly. The idea of you're dressed properly, where if you're going for more of a career-based job, you want to have dress up. Guys, you want to be wearing those suits. Girls, you want to be wearing the idea of the blouses, dresses. More of a formal type of dress code there. Yes, it's going to be a little different if you're applying for a fast food job compared to the doctor, a doctor of the hospital. But you kind of want to go and make sure that you're professional looking, that you're groomed properly. It doesn't matter if you're online or in person for that.
Yeah, definitely so. And once you are in an interview, I know what I've done when I've had to interview on several occasions, just here at the college, various different interview committees that I've been on. I've seen where candidates are very, very nervous, and sometimes that can impede on their abilities. Sometimes it impedes on their ability to speak clearly and also to showcase their skill set. So it's important when you are in an interview that before going in there, you do just like a breathing exercise. Sometimes just breathing in, holding it for 3 seconds, breathing out. I have to do that. And what that does is it decelerates your heart rate so that you're more calm. And when you're calm, you're able to think more adequately so that when a question is asked, you can respond successfully. So it's important even before your interview that you prep your mind and go and have someone interview you before interviewing. Have a neighbor or your a family member
or success coach
or a success coach. Thank you for that plug. Or a success coach to interview you, so that you've kind of had that experience. The more that you have practice, the better you are during the performance. Okay, practice, as we know, it makes perfect. So the more you practice interviewing, you talk out who you are, talk about your skills, your education, your credentials, your certifications. The more you practice on that, then the better you are on the day of your interview.
Yeah. And it's one of those things for a lot of people. Make sure you actually show up early to the interview.
Oh yeah, that's
make sure, especially somewhere you're not familiar with, it might be a unique parking situation or a certain building. Make sure you arrive, at least 30 to 15 minutes or so, ahead of time, just so you know where you're going, so you're punctual on time. That's also going to be a good thing with impression. In addition to that is kind of think of some, those common questions.
Yeah.
The idea of tell me about yourself. What experience do you have in this field? Tell me about a time you worked with someone, in a difficult situation.
Right.
Those are the common questions that, pretty much every interview in some way, shape, or form asks those questions.
Yeah, and even in that, it's good that I think we mentioned this earlier on in the video, that you look up what the company's values are. You look up that job description. You pull some language out of that job description to kind of align it with what you've already done, so that when you go into the interview, you're speaking their language. You know about the company, you know their mission, you know how their values align with your values. So it's important to do your homework in that, so that when you're in the interview, you can, as I alluded before, you can speak the same language. Yeah.
And also refer to those documents, refer to the mission statement in an interview.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, actually go and bring up, say, when I looked on your website, you were talking about this. This is how I can go and, fulfill this requirement and this goal that this company has.
Yeah.
So by using that and showing that interest there, they're going to be like, hey, this candidate, actually has an interest in this company, came prepared. So if they're prepared for that, they're probably going to be prepared for the idea of the job and actually effectively do the job.
Absolutely. And what about follow-up, Mr. Bell? Follow-up is important. This is something that I learned in the last couple of years as a professional, that it really does kind of add a last-minute ring, a last-minute cream,
Mhm.
as you would say,
Yeah.
to your interview when you properly follow up. So it's important that you know who was on your interview committee, whether that be one person or three or four. Who was on your interview committee, kind of get their email addresses if you can, and follow up with them.
Mhm.
I mean, not excessive, because sometimes it can get
Mhm. Yeah, just
aggravating.
one simple.
Just
Yeah.
one simple follow up.
Mhm.
Hey, thank you for your interview. Thank you for taking out the time to interview me. Just want to kind of inquire about the position, and this could be something that you can do prior to leaving the
Mhm.
interview. If at the end of the interview, if they ask you, do you have any questions?
Yes.
You can ask them, okay, when is your expected date of hire? So you'll
Mhm.
know that, and when that date it kind of approaches, you can kind of see when that date is approaching. Then maybe you can send out a follow up email to say, hey, thank you for your interview. I just want to know, just want to let you know I'm still interested.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you are at that interview, when they're going to ask you, you have any questions, make sure you ask at least something.
Yeah.
There's something that you want to go and kind of, help pretty much re-explain either your, something that you didn't touch on about your experience or your background, or something that you really want to know about, the work culture, the job schedule, pretty much any of those details there. But by asking that question, by, pretty much going and implying, hey, here's a couple things I want to ask about the company, that's also going to show the interest as well.
Absolutely. And employers want to know that you're interested, that it's not about the money or it's not about the position. It's really about you aligning yourself with what the requirements of the job is. So you're aligning yourself with their company's mission or values, or you're aligning yourself to be a better, to be the best candidate that they can pick, but two, also you want to make sure that you fit into that job. So when you ask questions, you're asking questions not only just to impress, but you're asking real questions that matter to you, so that you can be fully aware of what they're expecting.
Yeah. And one of those things where, like we said before, if you have any need help with interviews, need those mock interviews, we can help you out here at ATC. You're both of us success counselors, our success coaches can help out, as well as our counselor can help out. Mr. Rich Welby. So, there are 3 people here in the Student Success Center who can help you out with any of those mock interviews. We also can help with the resumes as well. So all those steps of the job process, please come to us. Please seek out our services so we can help you out, to help you score that job and be successful.
Yeah, and don't forget, our services are always free to you. If you are an ATC student, our services are free. It's all of our coaching sessions, our tutoring sessions, our counseling sessions, they are all free to you. So take advantage of these free resources that really can help you not only be a better student, but holistically help you as an individual.
Yeah, and for coaching and counseling, it is available 8 to 4 Monday through Thursday on campus. And then there's also the idea of the online option. So if you don't want to come to campus, you want to go and practice, say that, Zoom interview, Skype for Business, those types of things, we can do that as well virtually. So you can, stay home, put on your, outfit and everything, get all ready for it, and do a mock interview with us virtually or on campus.
Yeah, and you can reach us on campus. Our Student Success Center email is success@atc.edu. You can also call us at the Student Success Center at 803-508-7482. My number individually is 803-508-7484.
Yes, my phone number is 803-508-7467. Like I said, we thank you so much for watching. Please seek out our services, and please look forward to our next video that's going to be coming out next week.
All right, see you later.